What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me and hear me. What's up, Anna and Julio? What's up, Robert? Nice to see you. Barbie's in the house. Petya, always great to see your face. Martin, nice to see you too, sir. Ava, good to see you. Dennis, Sharif from Wealth Academy. What's up, brother? We got Candace, we got Sherry, we got Alexander, and we got Henry, and a few people with cameras off. Cindy, I see you. Very nice to see you. And folks, you know I like to see those beautiful faces. So turn those cameras on. It's Friday night, for God's sakes. So the least you can do is show me some love. And I want to show you what's going on behind the scenes. And it's getting a little crazy right now with these AI wars, folks. And I really wanted to come and do this tonight. I just had a guest in studio for a few hours, but it was important for me to still come on here and talk to you because behind the scenes, things are heating up. And I don't know if you remember, it was about 9 months ago when ChatGPT hit the scene and it blew everybody away. Nobody expected this type of artificial intelligence to be ready for the consumer. Nobody expected, including Jeffrey Hinton, who's the godfather of AI that worked at Google. And for a while, we thought Google was dead in the water. And that would have been a big deal, folks. This is a multi-trillion-dollar company that its value would have gone to zero if it can't join this AI race. But guess what happened? They have come back with a vengeance. And one thing Google has that ChatGPT doesn't have, do you know what it is? Anyone want to guess? Anyone have guesses? Raise your hand or type it in the chat. They got eyeballs, folks, right? We are constantly interacting with the Google platform. Google is the largest search engine in the world. Guess what? It owns the second largest search engine in the world. Anyone know what that is? YouTube, right? It owns that company, not to mention Gmail. So it's got billions and billions of customers that it can use to train its data and it can use to basically try out its products. And so much to the surprise of everybody, Google has come back and potentially is going to dominate ChatGPT at their own game. Meanwhile, Microsoft, who's caught in the middle of this, who was expecting to get a win over Google, is now being put on the back foot. Now, why does this affect you? Well, it does affect you because you've got two basically trillion-dollar monopolies trying to control the future of humanity with AI. Is that concerning to anybody here? Raise your hand if it is. Yeah, it is. It should be. And so we're doing everything we can to try to make sure that an independent party, one that believes in open source and decentralization and helping all humans, as opposed to the shareholders of these companies, is involved. And so I keep a really close eye on this. And these developments coming from Google are fairly impressive. Now, how many people here have played with ChatGPT? Just raise your hand so I can know who's AI savvy here. Okay. How many people have played with Google Bard? Just put your hands up if you played with Google Bard. Okay, so Petya has and a few others. It's worth trying. It's free. You just type in bard.google.com and you can tap right into what's going on. It's not bad. I'd say it's probably ChatGPT 3.2, but it's connected to the live internet, unlike ChatGPT. Now, you can hack ChatGPT into the live internet, but it's a pain in the butt. Google's right there. So if I ask it about me, it knows everything about me from the last couple of days. Not that I spend my time asking Google about me, but you know. So whereas if I ask OpenAI, it's connected to the internet as of 2021. So a lot of the data is really old. And so what Google's able to do is really rapidly deploy. It also can bounce the results into Google Documents. It can do all sorts of things that already interact with your Google stuff. And of course, Google can now train on potentially all of the video in the world on YouTube. That's massive if you think about it, because these large language models are trained on everything that's ever been spoken or written. But think if you could tap all the video, it's just an amazing data resource. I also know someone who personally took a tour behind the scenes at Google's AI development. And apparently it was like 6 massive air hangars that were basically the war room for building the AI that's going to win. Google's taking this very seriously because it literally is, it's everything for them. So I want to keep an eye on it. I want to tell you what we're hearing from guests behind the scenes. I want to show you how we're investing in this space to make sure that we can create the AI of the future that's going to be good for us and good for all humans and our families, and make sure, honestly, that 10 years from now, our world looks something like this. Because if we're not careful with AI, it will be a reality that none of us can conceive, a reality where humans are second-class citizens. Is anybody here concerned about that reality? If your hands aren't up right now, folks, literally, you should wake up and smell the coffee, because it's going to go there unless people like us are proactive. So I want to share some stuff from today. Again, last chance to turn cameras on for Ernest Gibbs and Stephanie Croy and Vito Aus and Henry Bartlett. Martini, is there anybody I shouldn't throw out? Because you know me, I got that itchy trigger finger. I always want to throw some people out. Richard Lees, can I keep him, Martini? No, he's turning his camera on. Well, look, Martini's going to toss a few people out like Gloria Gibb, and we just want to see faces. That's all. It'll give me lots of energy. All right, I threw out Gloria. Hope she doesn't mind. So let's jump into this, folks. I got a presentation. I got some videos. If you have any questions, just stick them in the chat, and I'll try to address them as we go. All right, sound good? Is everybody ready? Okay, let's go for this ride. So here we are. Just thumbs up if you can see me here with the AI War Fellows on the left here. Can everybody see this diagram? All right. So look, this is the big news. It happened 2 days ago. Google has literally declared war on ChatGPT with all of the major AI upgrades. And guess what? It looks exactly like ChatGPT. Same price point, same offerings, if not better. Enterprise solutions, which is what ChatGPT offers to Microsoft, because they are fighting to the death here. And that's what this is all about. Meanwhile, if you know from my presentation on Tuesday, we've got Tesla now creating their own AI for self-driving vehicles, and Elon was showing it off last weekend. So it's not like Apple and Amazon and Tesla aren't building. They are, but these two companies here are really fighting for that consumer large language model that's potentially going to affect everything. So it's important for us to know what they're doing. Before we get started, I just want to say this video is for information purposes only. It's not intended to be investment advice. If that's what you're looking for, please seek a duly licensed investment professional. Is that clear with everybody here? All right, good. That's what I wanted. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's look at the headlines. Fresh off the presses, these things. Google upgrades its apps with AI capabilities. It widens the scope of their applications, and it's called Duet AI. And they're going to roll it out across everything. And again, folks, look at these apps that are listed, right? Drive, Gmail, Docs, Slides, Sheets, and more. I mean, let's be honest. Google is ubiquitous in a lot of our lives. Raise your hand if you use Google Gmail or Documents or Slides or Sheets. Keep those hands up. Or YouTube or Gmail. Look at these hands. I mean, we're talking 80% of this call, right? And so they're going to roll it out across all these apps. They have the customers. ChatGPT doesn't necessarily have those inherent customers. They got a bunch when they launched, but will they stick around? We're always going to use Gmail and Slides and YouTube as long as it has utility. So this is something to really be concerned about and to note. I'm sure ChatGPT is very concerned about this, as is Microsoft. More headlines. Again, it continues to upgrade across the platform with something called Vertex AI. Google is doing everything it can to keep pace with this generative AI boom. And I got a video coming for you later where one of the Google people can even explain what they're doing here. You can tell this is all hands on deck in Silicon Valley, and they need to make it because this is do or die for them. More headlines now. Again, what they want to do is they want to turn text into online worlds. So Google's doing more than just our apps. They're trying to build all these 3D worlds that are coming just from text prompts. Has anybody here seen some of the things going on with AI imagery? Raise your hand if you played with any of these, like Midjourney. I mean, mind-blowing, right? I mean, absolutely mind-blowing. If you ever come to London Real headquarters, I got an oil painting that was made of me by one of our students in our London Real Academy. And it was a gift that was given to me. I'm looking at it right now, about 5 years ago. Here, I'll show it to you. Let's see if I can show it to you without messing up my cables here. Let me see if I can. All right, let me see. I'll pull this off. All right. Can we see it, Martini? Can we see that thing? Okay, there we go. So that thing there was made by a very talented artist, right? He spent 6 months painting that picture of me, right? He gave it to me as a gift. These days, if he came to me and said, Brian, I painted this of you, you know what I would say, right? I'd say you put it into Midjourney and you just traced it, right? Right? Everybody would think it's got some AI component to it. But back in the day, that used to take a seriously talented young man months and months and months of effort. And so the AI imagery has changed everything. I don't even know how you can be an artist these days and not feel some type of threat. And so Google's also investing into all of their imaging and 3D worlds of the future. Again, something to be very concerned about if you're any other AI play. What else is going on? Now we know that Google can go to meetings for you and they can help you when you're late. So now Google is developing tools that can literally replace who you are, take notes for you, come up with creative suggestions, and be a version of you in the future, right? Imagine if you can do this, if you're a husband or a wife, maybe Google can be a good version of you. So they're trying to replace everything, and some of it's scary, but look, they're moving forward, and this is something we should note. This is something directly from the article. And again, you know, Google is saying specifically here, its artificial intelligence powered tools now come at $30 a month per user. trying to cash in on the popularity of this. By the way, this is the exact same price as Microsoft's Copilot AI-powered Office software that includes Teams and Outlook for Microsoft. So this is a direct shot across the bow. This is basically Google saying back at you and right in your face, we're going to be beating you at your own game. And this has got everybody nervous in Silicon Valley. Of course, if you look further down this article, you can see it adds 20 new pre-built AI models to optimize for enterprises. So this is all company-focused stuff. And you can see it just goes on that they did this. The last line is the one that's important for me. The tools were tested by more than 1 million users. This is why I fear that Google could win in the end, because it's got so many of our eyeballs that are captive. And they redid their privacy policy recently. So if you opted into it, you basically said they can use all of your data to train their AIs, right? Raise your hand if that concerns you a little bit, right? So we see a lot of these people sneaking in their terms and conditions. Zoom did it. Now they said they didn't do it, but imagine if this call right now is going to be used to train the AI data. So we're seeing a lot of these big tech monopolies are going to use that monopoly status to then take it to AI. And this is something that I think we all need to be concerned about. Just a quick video from someone at Google that can explain what's going on. And then I want to tell you how we can apply this. But again, just as a quick synopsis from what they're doing, I think it's always good to hear it from the people themselves. So this is a quick explanation, talking a little bit about, let me see if I can get this thing here. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's a quick explanation of what's going on with that Duet AI.
Google Cloud updates. Duet AI for Google Cloud is an always-on AI collaborator that helps users of all skill levels to build secure, scalable applications with expert guidance. And we'll be expanding access very soon, so sign up to be a trusted tester today. New Cloud Deploy features make application deployment even more efficient, from flow management features to multiple location and phase deployments. We'll keep looking for ways to improve Cloud Deploy to be the simplest and fastest way to deploy your workload onto Google Cloud runtimes. With the private preview launch of the next generation A3 GPU supercomputer, Google Cloud now offers a complete range of GPU options for training and inference of ML models. And you can sign up to join the preview waitlist for the A3 today. Get more on all these stories at the links below, and join us next time for more.
Now she sounds a little bit like an AI, right? Raise your hand if you're feeling that, right? I think all those people in Silicon Valley talk a little bit like that, right? But what I like about what she said is they're now putting the GPUs in the cloud. And so now you can start to go to Google if you want to optimize your AI models, and they're selling that as a service. This is interesting because one of the companies we're investing in is going to be providing AI as a service going forward. So we're always keeping our ear out to that because we're investing in the companies that are going to compete. What you can see Google doing is starting to convert all of its users into enterprise users. Can everyone kind of see that by the language they're using and the way they're talking? And this is literally going to eat Microsoft's lunch, and they're not wasting any time. So again, we just need to know that everything just got a little bit more serious, and they're developing in the background in a massive way. The reason I show you this is because I have a good friend that used to work at Google, and he tells me what's been going on in their AI department over the last 5 years. And that guy is none other than Mo Gaudet. Okay, now he worked for Google X for many years. He was one of the first, I think, 100 employees of Google. The reason he quit Google in 2017 is because he was so terrified by what he saw the artificial intelligence doing that he no longer wanted to be a part of it. And he wrote a book on happiness. That's how I first met him on London Real. Meanwhile, he knows what happened in the background. And he was here in my studio just recently. You can see the pictures. And after the episode was over, he looked at me and he said, Brian, he said, do you realize we had ChatGPT 3.5 capability back in 2018 at Google? I was like, what? 18? Why didn't you release it? He said, because we were worried about the PR nightmare. We didn't want the blowback. We didn't want all this stuff. OpenAI wasn't, so they just released it and they got all this traction. He said, imagine where it is now 5 years later. He said, you think they're showing you what they've developed? They have far superior AI than you even think. Does that scare anybody here? Right? Okay. This is Mo telling me this. All right. And so we get privy to a lot of the things behind the scenes. And Mo believes that Google is creating God. And that's what he said to me. He wrote this book called Scary Smart, The Future of AI. I highly recommend you listen to that on Audible. He He voices it. And Mo was recently on the show twice to bring me up to speed with what's going on with AI. I really like Mo's perspective. I've spoken to a lot of guests when it comes to AI. The reason I like Mo is because he's written a book about it. He's worked at Google and can talk, smartly about it. And I also like him because while in some ways he's got a pessimistic vision of the future, he also has an optimistic vision of the future. And so this is what Mo told me when he was on the show. Pay attention.
AI has already happened. The genie is already out of the bottle. We truly are creating a form of life. There is so much we don't know that it could be the best thing that ever happened to humanity, and it could be the worst. Our conviction of the control problem is not a technical issue. It's an arrogance issue. It's human arrogance to believe that I can continue to control something that is a billion times smarter than I am. Einstein's intelligence compared to a fly. And the question is, what would make Einstein care for the fly? Why wouldn't Einstein squish the fly? Your fate and my fate is no longer in our hands. Don't attempt to control them. They are a form of a living being. Attempt to appeal to their value system. The moment of singularity is a moment where the smartest being on planet Earth is no longer a human.
Why should I plan my life past 2025? Because the world's going to change.
Oh, great question. When the complexity of the systems invented by a civilization exceeds the intelligence of the citizens living within it, the system has to reset. The idea of our future is held within this moment of infancy of AI today. They will use us as their role models.
This is the only thing we can do in your mind, is to start being nicer.
AI will grow up to be like you and me. It's simple as that. And the only way we can contain them is by being good parents. And I'm not asking anyone to change. I'm only asking people to find it within them, what they truly are. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Treat the machines as you would like to be treated. If we want a good future, please be good parents.
All right, what do we think of Mo? We appreciate his ideas, right? Pretty interesting stuff. And, after the interview, he confided in me and he said, Brian, look, I'm not worried about the machines. I'm worried about the humans. That's what he's worried about. He's like, I'm worried about what they're going to do with these machines, because they're going to take the next 2 or 3 years of what he calls the pre-singularity, right? Before they become smart enough to take over. And they're going to use this to try to get as much power and as much cash as possible. And that's what we're seeing Google doing right now. That's what we're seeing ChatGPT doing. And that's what we're seeing governments around the world doing, not to mention all the illicit stuff going on behind the scenes with cartels and drug dealers that are all using artificial intelligence. That's what you have to worry about. And so these next couple of years are pivotal. And if we don't do the right things, we're going to be in a really bad situation. Does everybody kind of agree with that? Yeah, that's the thing. And look, what did we see during lockdown? There was a billionaire created every single day during lockdown, because what happened? Small businesses got forced out of business, and the trillion-dollar tech companies became $2 trillion technology companies, right? What happened? Amazon went up, Apple went up, Google went up, and all of this local businesses got crushed. So the wealth gap got even bigger, and it's going to happen more with AI unless it is done in a responsible way. So I love having people like Mo on the show. He's always talking to me and telling me kind of what he thinks is going on. And let's look at some more of these headlines. Goldman Sachs has said that 300 million full-time jobs will be lost because of AI. That's a massive, massive chunk of people. That's all of the working people in America. You spread that around globally. You don't have a recession. You have a depression. You have riots in the streets. You have massive mayhem, starvation, everything, if that happens. So this is real, not to mention 1 billion or 2 billion people unemployed. What else? The godfather of AI, Jeffrey Hinton himself, left the company because he's terrified about what he created. And this is the guy, by the way. Mo, and everybody tells me he literally is the godfather. He's also more scared. He's totally scared of the tech he developed, which we hear a lot in this business. And he's worried about the dangers of misinformation. We've got an election year next year in America. We've got 15 months left until we choose a president. Actually 14 months. Is anybody here worried about misinformation, disinformation, deep fakes, AI? Are you kidding me? It's going to be everywhere. And we're not going to know what way is up. We're not going to know what's the truth. And that's just the beginning. Of course, you've got people saying that AI could wipe out humanity. All right. These are real conversations that people are having. And of course, you've got these wars that I talked about. One company improves to the other, improves to the other. And they basically take safety out of it every step of the way, right? Everyone knows you're not supposed to connect AI to a live internet, but Google Bard did it. Everybody knows you're not supposed to teach AI how to code, but that's what ChatGPT did. Everyone knows you're not supposed to allow one AI to prompt another AI, which is called Auto GPT, but that's what's being done right now. All of them are extremely dangerous. And unfortunately, you've got this guy, Satya Nadella of Microsoft, who wants to destroy Google, right? These guys have been the ugly stepchild of Silicon Valley for 20 years, and they're tired of it, and they want Google to go to zero. That's dangerous because what happens? Google, in retaliation, reportedly overruled the risk assessment to launch Bard AI. They knew this was dangerous, but they have no choice because the way that they're compensated as a shareholder-based company structure in America, they have to fight to survive. Now, Mo told me that Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, is a really good guy. He's like, he's really grounded and has great ethics. But he said, Brian, if he doesn't do the right thing, they're going to fire him and hire someone else. So it doesn't matter if these people have good intentions. The way that these corporations are set up, they're going to optimize for survival, and they're going to put our safety at risk in order to survive. Is that clear for everybody here? Right? That's really important. So what do you see? Each company drops the safety as it tries to trump the other one, right? They're taking it all the way to zero in order to try to win market share. This is really dangerous, but it's happening right in front of our eyes. You've even got OpenAI's top safety researcher saying that most humans are going to be dead. There's a 10 to 20% chance. I mean, it's one thing if some crazy guy with a tinfoil hat says that, but when it's the safety researcher of OpenAI, I get worried. By the way, that's like Russian roulette, one in the chamber and you spin the chamber. That's not exactly the way I want to live my life, right? So let's not do this, is what I'm hoping. And of course, OpenAI leaders themselves are begging for regulation to prevent their own creation from destroying humanity. Folks, I've been around for a while. I've never seen headlines like this. Okay, this is dire. At the same time, we've got billions of dollars being poured into these companies because where there's danger, there's opportunity. So again, Financial Times recently reported over $1 billion was invested in Inflection AI, a very impressive company. This company here got $100 million of funding. It's 4 weeks old. Imagine that. That's crazy. I worked on Wall Street for 15 years. I never saw anything like this. This is a gold rush, folks. And of course, you've got NVIDIA, the massive AI chip maker, that's now joined the $1 trillion club. That's a tough club to be in. I think there's only about 7 companies in the $1 trillion club. This recent report by McKinsey will blow you away. It has now said that generative AI could add the equivalent of $2.6 to $4.4 trillion annually to the economy. As a comparison, the United Kingdom here, not exactly a small country, probably the 5th largest in the world, our entire GDP was 3.1 trillion in 21. This outpaces that. And these numbers are expected to double if you embed that into software. Now look at this table on the right. If you add up all of the total economic value, you're pushing $25 trillion, which is more than all of the technology companies in the world combined. Is everyone starting to see how big this can be? Raise your hand if you can, right? Because this cuts across every single industry, folks. Everything from banking to medicine to agriculture, you name it, AI will improve it. And it's all going to happen, and it's all going to be run at an exponential rate. You've even got companies like Accenture investing $1 billion into AI, and you've got all of these things happening. And so we are currently investing over $4 million into 4 different AI and metaverse companies right now. The reason I tell you that is because we literally have our finger on the pulse of what's going on. We're cutting $1 million check into the AI company we believe is going to beat both Google and ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you that later. And we really know what's going on the edge because every single week inside our investment club in London Real, we have a CEO pitching us live on the call. So last night we had a CEO on the call pitching us their company. And so we get to find out what's going on with their AI play. What are they using? What's happening in the space? Are they being successful? And in that way, we know more than most people out there. On top of that, I get to speak with Mo Gauda. I get to speak with all of the top AI researchers in the world. And then on top of that, I get to travel to all the conferences. I'll be in Singapore next week. I'll be in Dubai in October, and I get to talk to who's who. So I can really tell you what's happening here, more so than I would say most people, because we have a foot in every world. And we do that because of London Real Ventures. You might not know about this, but this is the world's first media-powered investment firm. We started this about 2 years ago, and we've now invested in about 10 different companies across the space. Some really chunky investments as well. And what we do is we combine our media platform that's been around for 12 years with 1 billion views and 5 million subscribers to basically a venture capital firm with millions of dollars to invest. When you put these things together, you create magic. And right now, we are seeing the hottest deals in the world because I can put your CEO right in my leather chair and I can get you potentially 5 million customers into your business. That's what businesses want. They actually don't want money. They want customers, because that's how you create multi-trillion-dollar businesses. And that's what we bring to the table. So this is something that we are doing in the background, and a small group of London Realers are getting rich by doing this with us. And so over the next 10 years, I'm literally going to create billions and billions of dollars of wealth for these people because of the amazing place we're in. And I'll tell you more about that later. These are some of the companies we've invested in over the years. And this is one of them called Orange Comet. By the way, that's David Broom. He's already been in the studio. And they're building some incredible Web3 metaverses for some of the biggest Hollywood franchises in the business. Massive movie franchises, and working with massive actors. And of course, incorporating artificial intelligence as well. This is Eric Pullier, who's doing the same thing for corporations. So they're building AI-powered metaverses for companies like Google, Slack, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, and the list goes on. Another one of our investments. This is Jason Ma, the founder of Open. He's building the hottest new Web3 super app that, of course, uses artificial intelligence to create this Web3 experience for artists and creators. We're also investing in a fund called 1RT, which is $1 billion fund that's investing in the picks and shovels and the bricks and mortar of the blockchain industry. And by the way, blockchain will be a crucial part of AI development. On top of that, we're investing in the OpenAI killer, and I'll share details on top of that. And if that wasn't enough, we're investing in Life Beyond, which is a metaverse, also AI powered, where fiction becomes reality. And it's something we're really excited about. So needless to say, we're kind of busy around here, but it's busy in a good way. And we're really invested into people that are going to shape the future. And that way we're actually able to change the future. And that's where this quote comes into play, because this is our thesis here inside London Real. We believe the greatest way to predict the future is to create it. How many people agree with that statement? How many people believe that? I mean, in my opinion, you have to believe that, or how the hell do you keep your sanity? Because I don't believe in leaving it to chance. I don't believe in hope. I don't believe in crying and becoming a victim. I believe in creating it. And I know we can do it because we have created the future in the past. In 2020, we fought back against that same trillion-dollar company, Google, and showed the world they could not censor our messages. And with a small group of people and some capital, we broadcast the largest live stream of a human conversation in history without Google's help. So we know it can be done. A small group of highly motivated individuals can change the future, and we're going to do it again. This is our mission statement at London Real. If you're ever here in the studio, you'll see that our mission is to create a mass-scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. This is the way we invest. We only invest in companies that are going to make you more empowered as a human, you more cooperative, and you more conscious. That's it. I'm not going to ever invest in Google or ChatGPT or any of these other technology companies. We're going to build alternatives. And I do this for a lot of reasons, because that's what London Real has always been about. But I do it also because this is personal. And I woke up this morning to these two munchkins, and I'm trying to make sure that their teenage years are not spent in some dystopian Hunger Games society, right? Where they're literally cowering from artificial intelligence beings that are 1,000 times smarter than they are. This is Damon, who's 6 years old in the middle, and Caden, who's 7. Caden just started his YouTube channel. They both have Bitcoin wallets, and they're already asking me questions about AI. And I want to make sure that their future is one that at least resembled my teenage years. And so we get up a little extra early here, and we stay a little extra late. As I'm here on a Friday night. By the time I get done talking to you, it's probably going to be 10 o'clock. But this is important because I'm looking to find the right individuals that want to be part of our tribe to change the future. And these guys are worth it. So I would say, whoever you are out there, find your why. Does anybody here have somebody close to you that you're worried about protecting for the future? Raise your hand if you have somebody like that. maybe somebody you want to create that wealth for, maybe somebody that you want to create a future for. Well, that's the time to channel them and to put the work in now, because it's now or never, folks. So that's kind of the way I also think. And so look, just to review, we see massive amounts of capital going into these AI platforms. You've seen the checks, $1 billion here, 100 million there. We've seen Salesforce dumping $500 million in there. We've seen China's ByteDance gobbling up $1 billion worth of these AI chips, okay? Now, I went back to MIT where I graduated 30 years ago, and I stopped by the business school, and I saw a bunch of my professors at the MIT Sloan School of Management, and they said, Brian, an AI productivity boom is coming. I didn't pay attention. This was last year before ChatGPT. I then went to my fraternity house where there's 50 young men about to go out into the world, MIT graduates. And I said, where are you going to work? Are you going to work for Wall Street? That's where I went. Are you going to work for McKinsey? You're going to work for Google? And they said, no, we're going to work for AI blockchain startups. Folks, you follow the money and you follow the talents, and that's how you know where to invest. Does that make sense to everybody here? Just hands up if that makes sense. And that's what I'm able to do. And that's how we look at these investments. That's how we put our money out there. And so this is Peter Diamandis. He's one of the world's 50 greatest leaders. And this is him just hanging out with Jeff Bezos. He's gone into zero gravity with Elon Musk. He's pretty well connected. He's also an MIT graduate, and he's the founder of Singularity University. So he's been talking about artificial intelligence for decades. And I really connected with him recently on an episode. And he said, Brian, AI will cause turmoil, hacks, and job losses. But at the same time, Peter wrote a book called Abundance. Has anybody ever read any of his books? He's a really amazing guy. And so he's also got an optimistic take on the future. And he's analytic as an MIT professor, but he's a really fascinating guy. And so I just wanted you to hear some of his words, because he's concerned, but he also sees a way out of this. And that's what I like. That's why I like hanging out with people like this on my show. So listen carefully to what Peter had to say about artificial intelligence.
We're going to start to see generative AI in the form of deep fakes and disruptions causing turmoil. We're going to see loss of jobs. We will see the first Wall Street servers hacked by AIs, or the first power plants, and there will be concern that comes from that. These things are coming. The question is, will that AI be dystopian? Will it be the Terminator? Or will it be a benevolent entity supporting humanity, wanting us to be our best? It's tough to predict where things are going, but the convergence of these exponential technologies are allowing entrepreneurs to reinvent the future every single day.
And anybody listening should be trying to incorporate AI into every aspect of their business at this point.
Listen, if you're not an AI-first company, I understand that. That's okay. But at a minimum, what you need to do as the CEO, as the leader, is identify and bring in a chief AI officer, someone who understands who's out there, what's the topology look like, who are the major players out there in the world. We humans have been the most extraordinary problem solvers ever. We're still here. We have solved so many problems over the years. We're really good at seeing the problems far away. We accelerate them to today, we freak out, but then we still have time with all the new technologies to solve them, and we do. And I have confidence that we will. And I have confidence that we have the ability to uplift every man, woman, and child on this planet and create this incredible world of abundance. So I really hope people walk away from this conversation, Brian, empowered about the future and knowing that they can make a real dent in the universe.
All right, what do we think of Peter? We appreciate his insights there. Yeah, he's got a nice way of looking at things. You know, he's concerned, but he ultimately believes in abundance. I like people like that. I'd say I surround myself with those types of people. Very smart, but also concerned. Some great comments and questions here. Please keep DMing me. I'm seeing all of these out there. Richard says, there are no government smart enough to regulate this industry. Richard, you're absolutely right. Right. Look at crypto, which is 1,000 times simpler than AI. Let's be honest. It just is. And they can't even begin to regulate that. It's an absolute shambles, right? And they're late to the game and they're still screwing it up. So I agree. They can't, and they never will be able to. Anyways, some amazing comments there. So please keep them in there. Keep them coming. I like Peter. I've stayed in touch with Peter, and he's actually on the board of directors of that company, Vadim, from Eric Pulier. So we have lots of connections with these people in our investments as well. And he's a huge fan of Vadim as a company. and believes that they're going to change the game when it comes to metaverses. And needless to say, we agree, which is why we gave him $500,000. And so just to continue on this narrative, it's just something that we're really keeping our eye out when it comes to AI. And I'm trying to welcome as many perspectives as possible. This is the point I really brought you here tonight to understand, and this is crucial, so pay attention. This article in Barron's pretty much summed it up recently, and it said this: Microsoft and Google want to dominate the AI economy. We know that. This is what I just talked about, right? The wars they're in. But open source models are a threat. This is the beauty of what I've just shown you, folks, because there's a chink in their armor, all right? Open source. What does that mean, Brian? That's what you're saying. Let me explain. This was a memo that was leaked by Google about 3 months ago. It was quickly buried in the press, but of course I noticed it, and a few people that I know noticed it. And it said something that shocked the world and blew everyone away. And this is what it said directly from a Google senior AI engineer. And you can see the quotes on the right. And the engineer said, look, internal memo, it said, look, we've done a lot of looking over our shoulder at OpenAI. We're competing. Who's going to win? The uncomfortable truth is we are both getting beaten by a third source that's quietly eating our lunch. Who's he talking about? Open source. He said, quite frankly, they're lapping us. Now, this was Meta's large language model was leaked to the market a couple months earlier. And if you read on to the memo, as you can see on the right here, it said, because that model was leaked to the public, now you've got an open source movement. And what happened shocked the engineers at Google, because within just days, major developments were being reported in artificial intelligence. Many of the new ideas were coming from ordinary people, high school students, college students playing around with these models. It's the beauty of the hive mind. And they ultimately said that the barrier to entry had changed from having $10 billion and 10,000 AI engineers to one person, an evening, and a beefy laptop. And they were innovating faster than the technology giants. Does that blow anybody away here? Raise your hands if you're like, oh my gosh. For some people, that's obvious. If you look at crypto, that's all open source. If you look at Linux, that's always open source. Imagine you've got 8 billion minds in the world potentially. Nobody cares about the PR ramifications. No one's got to worry about copyrights. They're just developing the best stuff. And so it turns out that there's a way to beat all of these companies, folks, and it's open source. And look, there's actually already evidence of this. If you look at this graph, we can see that when it comes to image generation, a year ago on August 24th of 22, it turns out that Stable Diffusion, which is an open source AI image generator, surpassed the closed source DALL-E, which is the ChatGPT image maker. And now it's creating 4x the output. So there is a history of open source already winning. This is crucial. So what does that mean? Well, enter our hero, Dr. Ben Goertzel, because he's the CEO and chief scientist of SingularityNet. And this was a picture of us when he came on the show about 4 years ago. And he told me all about AI. And an hour later, I forgot everything he told me in the studio because it wasn't important, right? AI wasn't a big deal. It was just something you talked about. Well, guess what? 4 years later, I called up Ben in December and said, Ben, ChatGPT, you got to talk to me. And he said, hey, Brian, my token's up 10x because I've been on the blockchain and SingularityNet is now one of the few AI things you can grab. And I said, great, Ben, you got to come and talk to us. So Ben came back on the show. And I was like, Ben, I wanted to ask him, what changed? Have you accelerated your predictions? Like, what's happening out there? Because this is all happening so fast. And so I asked Ben all of these questions. And this is what he told me.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
All right, what do we think of Dr. Ben Goertzel? We feeling him, right? I like Ben because he's got a nice mix of highly intelligent. He's concerned, but he's also optimistic. That's what's really important about this space. And so look, Ben blew me away. Afterwards, I called him up. We had a Zoom conversation. And I said, Ben, why don't you become our AI advisor for London Real Ventures? I said, we're going to put a lot of capital to work, and I need you to tell me what are the hot projects. And he said, okay, Brian. He said, look, I love what you guys do, but I got maybe something even better than that. And I thought, well, what's better than that? And so he said, let me come back to you. 2 weeks later, he got back on with me and he said, Brian, let's jump on a Zoom call. And he introduced me to this woman, Janet Adams. Now, she's the COO of Singularity Net. And he said, Brian, we are creating a company called Zarka, and it's our response to ChatGPT. Janet's going to be the co-CEO, and we are creating artificial general intelligence. They are still working on narrow AI. We're working on human level intelligence. We believe we've already won. And we know your mission statement at London Real, your values, connect with ours. And we'd love for you to be involved in this project. So I actually met Janet out in London a couple of days later. I was really impressed with her, and I got her in the studio and in the leather chair to tell me what they were doing. And so Janet Adams came on and talked to us and explained what their vision was and why Zarka was different. And she pretty much broke down exactly what they're doing at Zarka and what they're doing via Singularity Net when it comes to large language models. And this is exactly what Janet told me.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI. And it's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Goertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Shalyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and Singularity Net and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living, the joy of each other. I see a future of joy.
All right, do we like Janet? We feeling Janet's vibe and her energy? Janet is a great counterbalance to the male PhD on the spectrum AI gearheads, which I went to school at MIT with, and she's a great counterbalance. She's also an extremely savvy businesswoman. She spent 15 years here in London in the banking industry like I did, so she's an extremely effective operator as well. And look at some great comments in here. Luca said it'll be a battle against evil and good, centralized AI against open source AI. We will fight for freedom. Amen, Luca, to that. I'm with you. And so look, needless to say, I was really impressed with their vision of the future. And it aligned fully with what we were doing here at London Real. And in some ways, it felt very coincidental that they just happened to drop in. But then at the same time, I know we attract these types of energy and these types of investments. So at the same point, it's not. And so look, folks, we believe this is the hottest artificial intelligence project in the world. I'm calling Zarka the open AI killer. We're currently writing $1 million check to these people in order to empower the AI of the future. And look, I'll show you some more details on this deal in about 10 minutes. If you haven't got the message, folks, 2023 is the year of AI. It's time for you to create generational wealth now that I believe you deserve. The world has convinced you that you don't deserve to be wealthy, but you do. And AI is not going to have a do-over, folks. There's not going to be an AI winter. This tech is developing so fast. Look at what Google did in just a couple short months. They've now beat ChatGPT at their own game. And guess what? ChatGPT is going to come right back, and it's going to be a war back and forth of rapidly developing technology. 2024 is too late to invest here. Matter of fact, I might argue that November, December is too late. You've got to be in on these now, because these are the kingmakers of the future. And it's pretty much winner take all in this space. And so you might say, okay, Brian, where and how do we invest? Well, first, you've got to find the hottest trend. And I'll explain exactly what that is. It's basically decentralized AI, but there's a nuance to it. How do you do that? Well, you need three things, folks. It's quite simple. You need deal flow, you need deal flow, and you need more deal flow. Because if I didn't know Ben from 4 years ago, I would have never seen this opportunity. If you didn't know me from London Real and you weren't in my small family community, then you wouldn't get access to this deal and you wouldn't even know it happened. You'd have to be a billionaire maybe to see this deal, but you don't. And it's because we source the deal flow. So besides me having guests on London Real, how else do we get deal flow? We hit the road, folks. And so this is me in Dubai last year. I'll be back there in October. This is GITEX, the largest technology conference in the world. It's crazy. It's like 100,000 people there. And I hung out with some of the biggest crypto influencers, members of the government in Dubai who I interviewed on the show, and influencers there as well to try to get that next hot deal. From there, I was back to Paris or off to Paris, where I had a private dinner with some really high-level venture capitalists and some of the companies they were investing in. I did loads of media, documentary films. And in the upper right, I met with some of our portfolio companies. That's Cross the Ages and Swissborg there on the right. Then I'm back to London to go to Token 2049, where I'm spending time with Yatsu of Animoca Brands. He runs a $4 billion hedge fund that invests in gaming and Web3 tech companies. I had him in the studio. He's become a good friend, hanging out with more influencers. Then I'm actually back to Paris to hang out with some of the big VCs. That's Tim Draper in the upper right-hand corner. That's Dan Tapiero on the bottom. That's his 1RT fund that we're investing in as a group here. More influencers. Then I'm off to Texas for Consensus, where I spent more time with Dr. Ben Goertzel, more influencers. And you can see on the bottom right, I get to hang out with my idol, William Shatner, Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. And we got to hang out with him because David Broom of Orange Comet on the top picture there was on stage with William Shatner because they were doing his digital collectible through the company we own. So Orange Comet was doing the William Shatner collectible. And then at the same time, I took that opportunity to introduce them to Yatsu of Animoca Brands because we're trying to turn Orange Comet into a 200 or 300 or 400x return on our investment so I can make everybody a massive amount of money. This is a full-time job, which is why I'm off to Singapore next week and I'm back to Dubai in October. And it's just rinse and repeat because FaceTime is how you get the deals, folks. And if you know the deals, that's how you make a lot of money in this space. Otherwise, you have no idea these things are happening. And you'll hear about these companies 5 years from now, and you'll think, oh my gosh, look at this amazing company. And you won't realize that there were people that invested on it really early stage. They're the ones that make money. So you've got to invest with the best, folks. That's the only way to do this. And that's why we look at over 100 deals, sometimes every single month. These are all the different companies that I think we looked at a couple months ago in the AI space, and they're growing rapidly, rapidly, rapidly. Most of them are nonsense. Most of them are a waste of your time. Some of them will probably never even create a product. And if you don't know what you're doing, they're going to take you for all of your money and you're going to have nothing. So we go through each one of these, run due diligence, speak to the CEOs, and check the entire industry before we even get close to them. And this is what you have to do. And we teach our students how to do this. but you've got to also understand the financial tools because the deal isn't enough. And that's why we've decided this very important thesis inside here at Londonville Ventures. And it's quite simple. We believe that early stage metaverse and artificial intelligence equity investment, early stage equity investment represents the hottest opportunity out there. Why? You buy at super low valuations. You see the biggest gains possible. You invest in what I'm calling the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history. Yes, I agree with you. It's high risk. This is a high risk scenario, which is why you put a small percentage of your portfolio in it. But it also means you have a super high reward. And that's why we're doing this, folks. And it's only a small window of opportunity where this is going to happen. Small. What is early stage funding, you might ask? Well, it's one of three types. It's either seed funding, startup funding, or early growth funding. It's when a company is still in its infancy, where you can get a nice piece of it and see a massive gain. Let me give you an example. All right. Does anybody know these two gentlemen or one of them or this company? Yeah, raise your hand if you know one of them. Okay. They changed the name of the company to protect the innocent, but we all know how it started. It's Mark Zuckerberg on the left. That's Peter Thiel on the right, legendary Silicon Valley investor. He turned $500,000 into $1 billion. That's not easy to do, folks. Let me show you how he did it. Back in 2004, Peter invested $500,000 into Facebook via early stage equity private placement, right? Just like what I was talking about, right? Early stage equity private placement. That's what we do. At the time, it valued the company at $10 million. Small company at that point. What happened next? 8 years later, Mark took that company public and he sold shares to people like you, right, Barbie? You, Dennis Neal, you, Sharif, you, Candace, you, Justin. The public, we call you guys sheep because sheep get slaughtered. And what happened? He sold shares to you, but you had to pay $100 billion to value that company, a little bit more, right? And what happened? Well, Peter Thiel made a 2,300x return on his investment. That's a 230,000% gain. Has anybody here ever met anybody that made a 230,000% gain? I worked on Wall Street in London and Chicago for 15 years. I never saw this, not even on Wall Street. It's unheard of, right? And so he walked away with a massive amount of money. And what happened to people like you, Barbie, and Dennis and Sharif, who bought the shares? How'd you do? Share price went down for a year. You lost money. Of course you did. You are there for one reason, to make people like Peter rich. So whenever you get some Wall Street spanker trying to sell you something, run the other way. Run as fast as possible, right? That's what I do when I see those guys coming. So what's the lesson? The wealthy invest in early stage, folks. This is what they don't want you to know. My Wall Street buddies hate the fact that I teach this stuff to you because nobody else talks about this. The truth is, a simple $10,000 investment would have made you $23 million, Justin. $23 million, Gustavo, right? That's real money. Now you say, okay, Brian, I didn't have 10 grand. Okay, $1,000 you probably could have scraped together. Would have made you $2.3 million. Who could use an extra 2 mil right about now? Come on, put your hands up, right? Luca didn't put his hands up. Luca's like, nah, Brian, I'm good. More money, more problems. Okay, that's fine. That's all right. We'll pass it over to someone else. Now, what else did we learn from this? The public markets are for suckers. Every time you go buy a share of Tesla from the NASDAQ or a share of Apple, you are playing a fool's game because somebody like Peter already took all the money out of that company. Is that clear for everybody here? Just know this to be true. Your share of Tesla ain't going up no 2,300x. And guess what? Same happens in crypto. How many people here own crypto? Raise your hand if you own any Bitcoin, Ethereum. Come on, there's got to be some orange pill people here. The same thing happens in crypto, right? If you go to buy that from an exchange right now, somebody's already taken all the juice out of that trade. What do I mean? Let me give you an example. It's called a pre-sale token. What I just showed you on Facebook happens every day in crypto because we do it, right? It's the same thing. It's buying a token before it gets listed on an exchange. Let me give you an example. This is Solana. Anybody heard of Solana? Come on, you're in crypto. Raise your hands. You know Solana. It's one of the top 10 protocols out there. Well, guess what? They did a pre-sale token. Don't take my word for it. This is all on the blockchain. Look, folks, back in April 5th of 2018, they sold tokens for 4 cents each. 4 cents, not dollars, cents. Like I said, this is all on the blockchain. They raised $3.17 million. Not a lot of money. 79 million tokens they sold. What happened? These days, hold on one second. Oh, man. These days, Solana trades for about 20 bucks a token. So guess what? If you had gotten in on that pre-sale, you would have made a 59,000% return. 59,000%. Anybody here buy them for 4 cents? Raise your hand. Not one of you? Of course you didn't, because you weren't in the deal flow. You didn't know somebody like me. Matter of fact, Julio, you probably paid 200 bucks for these damn things, because that's what people were paying for them at the top of the bull market at the end of 21. So you would be down 90% on your investment, not up 59,000%. Yeah. Do you understand what I mean? The public are sheep and sheep get slaughtered. You are used by the masters of the financial markets to make money for other people while you take your losses. Does that make sense to everybody here? Right? This is true. Nobody wants to tell you this on Wall Street, but I will. I'm reformed. But now we do this with our students. So you have to have the deal, folks. That's what makes the difference. So how do you create generational wealth? You got to pull the trigger, folks. You have to pull the trigger and put your money into an investment. And you have to do it with the right people, and you have to see the deal flow. And that's what we do. These are pitch decks from over 500 companies that we've looked at inside the investment club. We see them all the time, deck after deck after deck. A CEO comes on our call every single week. They come, high-level CEOs, high-level companies, right? They pitch us their companies. It's like Shark Tank, right? And I grill them. We ask them hard questions. And at the end, if they give good answers, we might invest in their company. This is how we track every single deal in our deal flow monitor. You can see the name of the deal. You can see the blockchain it's on. You can see if they're investing and raising tokens or equity. You can see how much they're raising. Is it 1 million, 2 million, 10 million? What's the valuation? 20 million, 50 million, 100 million. We track everything. This is Orange Comet, Dave Broom. We were blown away by this guy. He pitched us like a champ. He's doing amazing things. They are basically creating digital collectibles for people like Sir Anthony Hopkins, Scottie Pippen, the Chicago Bulls, NFL, Walking Dead, Fast and Furious. I mean, I can tell you the movie franchises, but I can't. They'll blow you away. These guys are amazing. Dave Broom came in the studio. His interview has been watched over 100,000 times. I saw him in Texas. He said, Brian, you guys are amazing. Everybody is talking about this interview. We're seeing investors, we're seeing customers, we're seeing celebrities, all because of you guys. This is how we see the deals flow. This is how I can pass these deals on to you as well. This is Swissborg, another one of our investments. That's the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe. You can see here, they're literally building the bank of the future, right? They're building the launch pads where we're going to use them to actually launch our investments to the public as well. So we're building an empire here that you can be a part of. This is our press release with them. This is Vadim. This is the company that Peter Diamandis is on the board of. This is Eric Poulier. He came on the show, blew us away with his interview. They're building metaverses of the future as well. And this is Jason Ma, was just recently on the show. Jason's been involved in over $1 billion worth of transactions. He's a massive influencer, and he's building the hottest new Web3 super app. It's incredible what he's doing. And by the way, this company, his company, already raised $28 million at a $100 million valuation. This happened a year ago with some of the biggest names in VC. And I got my group here, Investment Club, in on this deal. After the deal was closed, this is unheard of. We're writing these guys a $500,000 check, and we couldn't be more excited. And there's more. This is Dan Tapiero's Fund 1RT. We're literally going to invest in the infrastructure of the blockchain. We're putting $1 million into this fund. Everyone is extremely excited about this. Dan Tapiero is a legend. And the fact that we're getting access to this deal is just unheard of. And it's just because of the relationship I have with Dan, which we're really grateful for. And of course, we have the OpenAI killer. And this is the hottest artificial intelligence project right now that we've ever seen. And this is what it is, folks. It's called Zarka. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic large language model from Singularity Net at massive scale. The team is the sickest group of AI scientists in the world. And guess what, folks? They don't want to work for Google. They don't want to work for OpenAI. They want to work for Dr. Ben Goertzel because he's the OG in this space. We know what's happening. It's the ChatGPT moment. But guess what? Large language models have flaws. They have no ability to reason in complex world environments. They do not know when they're wrong. They simply memorize instead of thinking. This is a huge problem, folks. This makes them dangerous. Enter neurosymbolic AI. What they're building inside Zarka can meta reason. They can learn. They can use logical reasoning. This is huge, folks. It's got explosive potential, and it escapes the AI monopoly. These folks have been on the blockchain for 5 years. They want to go open source, decentralized. We know that's the future, folks. They're going to do proof of concept by end of year, rolling out products next year. They already have AGI supremacy, artificial general intelligence. They are the best in the world at it. Some conservative revenue estimates, $55 billion. You put 100x multiple on that, you've got a $5 trillion company. It's the biggest company in the world. This is winner take all, folks, and we're playing for keeps. And we believe that this is the company that's going to do it. On top of that, these are good people. They've got the right idea when it comes to developing this AI, and they are very congruent with our ethics and vision of the future. And so my question for you is simple. Is this the next 1000x return investment? Does anybody here think it is? We clearly do, right? And that's why we're excited to jump in on this project and support these people all the way. I've had Ben on the show like 4 times. I speak with Janet regularly, and we can't wait to for them to just crush on this. And so, folks, it all comes down to London Real Ventures. Without this, I can't pass on this deal flow to you. But because we have this, I can offer you access to deals that you would never even hear about. And you probably have to have millions and millions of dollars of capital to even get access to. Through London Real Ventures, you can put in as little as $5,000 into a deal like this, or you can put in zero. It's literally up to you. One of our members just put $100,000 into one deal because they really love the deal. It's up to you. And again, that's unheard of. No one has ever created that structure where you get to opt in for whatever you want. Just see here. Stay with me here. Hold on 1 second. Stay with me here. Get my tech back on track here. So you saw London Real Ventures as an entity, but from there, you've seen our portfolio companies. So that's the ventures, that's the portfolio companies. This is our quadruple threat. This is why people keep coming to see us, because number one, production. I put the CEO in the leather chair. I elicit a 2.5-hour, 6-camera, high definition, vision of the future that blows everyone away. 2, I distribute that to 5 million people that get to watch that worldwide. 3, I connect you with everyone we know in the space, from high-level venture capital to influencers to developers to athletes to politicians, you name it, we got you. And then number 4, we write you a big fat check to go on. And this is, again, why we're seeing these amazing deals. And so you're probably asking yourself, okay, Brian, how do I learn how to invest? It's simple, but complicated. It's simple. You've got to surround yourself with the best. Now, how many people agree with this statement? That you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with? Come on, admit that. Raise your hands if you agree with that. If your hands aren't up, like, who are you kidding? And let me be very honest with you. Who are you hanging out with? Who are the 5 people you're hanging out with? Are any of them billionaires? Are any of them building a $1 billion or a $1 trillion company? Are any of them, New York Times bestselling authors? Have they done a TED Talk? Are they doing anything high performance in their life? Your answer is probably no to me. They're probably friends and family who don't even want you to get wealthy. Raise your hand if I'm on the track, right? They probably they think you're crazy talking about AI and crypto all the time, right? And so secretly, subconsciously, they're getting you to fail. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about, right? They love you, but they love you a lot better, Julio, if you stay poor just like them. And so every time you're doing this, what are you doing on a Friday night? Why are you listening to that Brian Rose? Why don't you go have a drink with us? Yeah, let me have a drink. That's going to get me richer, right? So you got to surround yourself with people that are highly successful. That's the only way to be successful. You can take everything I teach you tonight, you go try to implement it. But if you keep those, I won't say losers, but if you keep those low performance people in your life, you have no chance, folks, no chance. And that's been the story of my life. These are 3 different versions of Brian Rose. On the left, you got 16-year-old Brian, right? I just bought a Ford Mustang for $1,200. It was all the money I saved from my summer jobs. I was in high school in San Diego, and my peer group was a bunch of high school kids. So I think I was making $6 an hour at the time. Let's be honest, I wasn't that rich. What happened? Fast forward 4 years later, I'm graduating from MIT, okay? Now I'm surrounded with some of the smartest people in the world, but we're all still 22 years old. And so I think that year, my senior year, 1993, I made $3,000, and I had to go in the sofa to find quarters for beer money, right? Anybody ever been there? Maybe at uni? You know what it's like, right? Move to the right. Now I'm on Wall Street, and I'm surrounded with 300 high-performance men and women, each making between $2 and $12 million a year on a trading floor. What happens to my income? In 1995, I was paid, I think, $180,000. Now, did I get smarter? No, not that smart. All I did was surround myself with high performance people. If you surround yourself with people making millions and millions of dollars, it's only a matter of time until you make millions and millions of dollars. Folks, the story of my life has been me getting into a bigger peer group than I was before. What do you think London Real is? It's my hack into a more high performance peer group. Does this make sense for everybody? Until you change your peer group, you will not change your wealth, your income, anything in your life. It's hard to do this, folks, because the people you want to hang out with don't want to hang out with you. So you got to find a way in. And that's why I created my investment club. So you can hang out with people like this. This is Marianne Bartels, one of our founding members. She actually just DM'd me on Messenger. She's investing in 1RT right now. She is the chief investment officer for 35 years of Merrill Lynch Bank of America. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met when it comes to finance. She understands stocks, bonds, inflation, yield curve better than anyone I've ever met. I mean, she knows what the Federal Reserve in America is going to do before they do it. And for all I know, she tells them what to do. She is on our calls on a regular basis. And when she's going to talk about the markets, I turn my microphone off and we listen to Marianne because she's smarter than the rest of us. This is your new peer group, folks. Okay. She's one of 82 members of my investment club. Okay. This is your peer group if you want it to be. By the way, Marianne invested in Vatum. Marianne invested in Orange Comet. Marianne invested in Open. She's investing in 1RT. Why? Because she knows what the hell she's doing. This is your new peer group. One of them. This is Andrew Haynes. He's our metaverse expert. This is a metaverse he built in the sandbox on his own, alongside his massive digital collectible gallery. He goes to one of the top executive training schools in Switzerland and hangs out with some of the biggest AI scientists. This is your peer group. He jumps on Zoom calls all the time with individuals in this group just to bring them up the curve. This is Dr. Encore. 2 years ago, he was in medicine. He took my crypto and DeFi accelerator and he completely reinvented his career, right? He also created a YouTube channel after we encouraged him to, and he uploaded a video every single day for a year. Now he's got hundreds of thousands of views. And the other day he got offered $100,000 in pre-sale tokens for free just to advise on a deal, which he turned down because he's got better offers. I just hired him to be a full-time member of London Real Ventures. This could be you, okay? This can be a guy you hang out with. And I got 80 more like him from all over the world. Okay, you want to upgrade your peer group? This is what you do. And so, folks, do you agree with this statement? Your net worth is your network. Raise your hand if you do. Folks, this is the story of my life. I'm telling you. I'd like to think that I'm smart and I'm high performance, and maybe I am. But if you want to get there about 10 years faster, you surround yourself with the peer group. So get in the right room. That's what you want. And you want to be the dumbest person in the room, not the smartest person in the room. Raise your hand if you're the smartest person in the room a lot of times. I know you are. We all like being the smartest person in the room because everyone looks at us and says, you're so smart, Brian. You're not going to get richer being the smartest person in the room. You're not going to get smarter. You're not going to get better. You're going to get your ego stroked for a little while, which is a big waste of time. Okay. I want to be the dumbest one in the room. I want to be the poorest person in the room. That's what you do, folks. You've got to get around the right network. And so we believe in this philosophy. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I am here to teach you how to fish. And that's what we're doing inside our investment club. And that's why I created it. Because back in 21, we invested in Cross the Ages, which is the hottest blockchain gaming company in the space right now. And I'll be honest with you, folks. I had studied finance at MIT Sloan School of Management. I worked for 15 years in the highest level of international finance. And when it came to crypto pre-sales, I'd never heard of any of this stuff. I was signing SAFT agreements, and quite frankly, it scared the bejesus out of me. I was really confused. And I thought, if I'm confused as a Wall Street veteran, none of you have a chance. No chance you're ever going to be able to understand this or make money off it. And so I called Martini up and said, Martini, we got to teach this stuff right now. Now, we were busy because crypto was kicking. We were making our Crypto DeFi Academy, but we created this course. And so every quarter we open up 10 spaces. Marianne and Encore and Andrew were all part of our founding class. And every quarter we open up 10 spaces. We're always massively oversubscribed, obviously. I teach 6 modules, 3 months of coursework. It's a 12-month program. But here's the catch, folks. No one's ever left. Because why would I want you to leave if we've taught you how to fish? And so far it's become a lifetime course. Every single week, we have a top CEO on the call, which will blow your mind, and it will teach you so fast what's going on. You'll see exactly how this works behind the scenes. It's like Shark Tank, but it's like OnlyFans Shark Tank, right? You get private access. That's what I should do, right? We keep our clothes on though. And so you literally get to see what happens behind the scenes. And if we like what we see, we get to invest in these companies. It's amazing. You get a private Telegram group, you get access to all the investment club deal flow, and you get a full year of our Kings of DeFi program, which is our advanced blockchain metaverse course in case you need some to come up to speed. Our next live call is Thursday at 7:15 p.m. And we do this all remotely. We've got our students in over 20 countries around the world. I'm telling you, it's the most amazing peer group you've ever met. People here, like Petya says that she's finally found the friends that she's been looking for the last decade. I mean, literally, people find their best friends, their collaborators, because we're all going to be doing this for the next 10, 20, probably 30 years together. And they're amazing people. We do real-time learning, so I constantly adjust the curriculum as the market changes. And I adjust the colors of my tie as the market changes. And so this is me constantly teaching and constantly updating what's going on. This is our curriculum, and you can see module 1 is what is a blockchain AI metaverse pre-sale. I walk you through all the basics of what you need to invest in your first deal. Module 2 is what is a SAFT or a SAFE. By the way, raise your hand if you know what a SAFT is. Like very few people, Petya knows. Some of you have seen this, but no. The fact that none of you know what a SAFT is scandalous, and it's shocking. And honestly, it's a shame. And I would say you should feel shameful, but it's really because we have no financial education in this world. And Wall Street does not want you to know what a SAFT or a SAFE is, because that way the rich get richer and the poor stay poor, and they would rather you be poor. So they'll sell you their IPOs after we've made all the money on it, and after their private, high net worth individuals have made all the money on it. Then they use you for liquidity. A SAFT is a simple agreement for future tokens. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. If you don't know what those are, you will never be able to invest in an early stage company, period. Module 3 is deal flow part 1. It's due diligence. We focus on the 5 T's: team, traction, technology, tokenomics, terms and conditions. Module 4 is deal flow part 2. I show you how to get the deals, what conference to go to, what ticket to buy, what to wear, how to get the leads, how to communicate your information, and how to get the next deal. Carol came to me with Paris this year, and she walked away with 12 deals. Another one of our students came to Consensus in Texas. He came away with 10 deals. We're going to show you how to do this. We teach you how to fish. Module 5 is how you nurture those investments so they become 100x, 500x, 1000x returns. Module 6 is how do you get the cash out and take some of it and put it back in so we can make even more money. It's important to create the wealth now when you have a chance. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Your people are worth it. Your family is worth it. This is our Telegram group. This is our Discord group. And this is where we're at, folks. We're oversubscribed. Martini works 24/7 trying to field calls from all the people in the world that want to be a part of this. By the way, we're not looking for fancy degrees, and we don't need your billions. We want people with the right energy that are going to be part of our family for the next 10 years. We want you to be part of this group. These numbers are constantly changing. I think there's 7 confirmed, 1 on hold. There's either 2 spaces left or 1 space left. I never know. Martini's constantly doing it. I think somebody joined an hour ago. Is that right, Martini? And so she's constantly busy. We work 24/7 here because this is important, folks. I need the right people on my team so we can win. And I don't say that lightly. We have to win, folks. Like literally our future and our children's future. I mean, it's hinging on what we do right now. And so if I can get the right people on my team, we can win. If I get the wrong people on my team, we're going to lose. So we're working hard here. I mean, I'm not joking. It's almost 10 o'clock here in London, and I'm here with you on a Friday night because you might be the person that can get us to the next level. And that's why I'm here. And so we've got 1 or 2 spaces left. I don't know which one. The investment in this, because this is an investment for the rest of your life in your peer group and your education, is $50,000. That is going to double to $100,000 in the next course because everybody keeps telling me it's too cheap. Now, this is a significant investment. All right. I agree with you. It's a significant amount of money. I would never say it's not, but it has an unlimited financial return, unlimited. And that's very hard to describe if you have a poor mindset. This is the greatest wealth creation event in human history, and it's your chance to partake with people that are on the ground doing it. Nobody in the world is doing what we're doing. Nobody's teaching this. Nobody's giving you access to top tier deal flow. No one is allowing you to invest as little as $5,000 into these projects. It's unimaginable. And our special investment opportunity in Zarka, in 1RT, in Open are closing now. By the way, this was our special opportunity last quarter that you missed because you didn't join the course. This is a SAFT, by the way, here on the right. Don't let it intimidate you. Please don't. Wall Street wants you to be intimidated. You should not. It's just a legal agreement. It's easy. And if you had gone in on it, you would have made a 466% return in one day. Imagine if you put 10,000 on this deal, you would have paid for the investment club course for life, but you didn't. And so you didn't get this. In one day, I made my club $300,000. And this wasn't even a big deal, folks. We did this because we were actually bored that week. We have a track record of success in this group. And by the way, this is Cross the Ages, our original investment. This is Sami Schlagu, the CEO. This is the interview I did with him. And this is some of the press they're getting. I mean, he's dominating the App Store. They're selling out millions of dollars of NFTs. After he was on my show, he got an additional $12 million of investment from Ubisoft and Anna Milka Brands. Their token will release this year. We're expecting a 10x, and then it goes up from there, folks. We have a track record of success in this group. And this is my pledge to everybody who's joined my investment club, is that I'm going to create $10 billion of wealth for my club in the next 10 years. And you're going to watch me, folks, because we're going to do it. And I can tell you, you can either be on the inside or you can watch it from the outside, but it's happening either way. And this is Jens, one of our founding members. And he was on this call a couple of weeks ago, and he watched a bunch of your faces, and he got frustrated because he didn't think you were taking this seriously. And Jens is very passionate, and he called me up and said, Brian, they don't get it. They don't get it, and it makes me angry. And I said, well, Jens, what do you want me to do? And he said, they don't understand the opportunity that they're missing. He said, I invested for 20 years on my own, and I never saw deal flow like you show me, Brian, every single week. And I said, Jens, what do you want me to do? I said, we're already oversubscribed. Martini's busy. Like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, I want them to know. And he's like, I'm going to send you a video. And so I said, okay, Jens. And so this is what he recorded for you.
Why should you join the investment club? And the next obvious question is, can I afford to join the investment club? My name is Jens Krautscheid, and I am an active investor in stocks and companies since age 14. And risking of stating the obvious, I'm German. Also, I am one of the founding members of the investment club. And I consider my decision to join the investment club as one of the best investment decisions I ever made and I ever will make. Why? We all had this pub talk, this talk at the dinner table where we complained about our hustle we have to do daily. We complained on the workload we have, and we try to top up each other who has more stress, who is more hustling. And then sooner or later someone says, well, if I would have been an early stage investor in PayPal, I would be so rich. Or if I would have been an early stage investor in Microsoft, I would be so rich. And this is nice. This is really nice. But let's be honest. If you would have had the chance back then, 1992, to invest in PayPal, would you have pulled the trigger? Would you have invested? Quite likely you wouldn't have, because you couldn't assess the situation. You couldn't value the situation enough. In the investment club, we get these offers on a daily basis. We get the next PayPals on our table. And then we have a team of 50 people, 60 people, of a growing community of people who will do these assessments. And they will say, do this, buy this, this is the way. And then we buy this. And the next question is, can you afford to join the investment club? And the question really should be, can you afford not to join the investment club? Times are getting tougher. AI is taking over. And in what company you want to invest? In which AI company do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the ones who do the fridges? Or do you want to invest in an early stage Coca-Cola who uses the fridges? It's up to your decision. I tell you now, invest in the investment club and be part of our fabulous, wonderful group. My name is Jens Krautscheid, and I wish you the best decisions of them all.
All right, we like Jens, right? He's got some pretty good energy, right? We love Jens. Honestly, almost every member is like that. They really have a good intentions and a good heart. And they're unlike your current 5 members of the people you surround yourself with. Not only do they want you to be successful, unlike your current group, they really want you to be, but they expect you to be successful. They really do. They assume you're going to make millions, if not tens of millions of dollars. And it's nice being around people like that not only want it, but expect you. And they expect you to show up as well and do the work and learn how to fish. And so I'll close with a couple thoughts, and that is something that Marianne Bartel said to me on the very first call. She said, it only takes one. I remember this. Martini probably remembers this. And I was like, Marianne, what do you mean? She said, Brian, I know people that invested early in Google. I know people that invested early in Uber. She said, one deal changed their life forever. It changed the lives of their children. It probably changed the lives of their grandchildren. One deal. And so I would say to all of you here, if you don't have one of these, like, honestly, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get one. And of course, I always like to think in terms of final thoughts. And I would say, don't let 23 pass you by. You will not get these months back when it comes to AI. You just won't. Learn early stage investing now, because you can use what I'm going to teach you for the rest of your life. Liquid tokens and equity have limited gains. What do I mean? If you buy something on the NASDAQ or if you buy something on Coinbase, you are not going to get 1,000x return. I know the hardcore Bitcoiners in the world. I know Michael Saylor, he's got $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Even Michael will say Bitcoin's probably not going up 1,000x, all right? It just can't, because it's already gained so much. If you want those returns, you have to go early stage. I'm giving you the opportunity to learn from an active elite investor for just $50,000. No fund manager in the world would ever give you this access, but we will. Yes, it's a significant investment. I agree with you, but it's got unlimited financial returns. And thanks to Martini, a few months ago, we implemented a payment plan. And that means for $10,000 a month for 5 months, you can get in on these deals. What does that mean? If you have limited capital right now, you can pay the first payment and still get in on Zarka or some of these investments before you lose it. So you can thank Martini for that. Again, we're not looking for people with billions of dollars or fancy degrees. We're looking for people that want to go shoulder to shoulder with us and go for this big fight. And we're looking for the right energy. And it's your chance to invest in the best deal flow in the world. And again, always remember what Warren Buffett said: the best investment is in yourself. So look, I can show you a Zarka that gets you 1,000x, but the truth is, if you invest in yourself, you're going to get a 10,000x. Think about it. If you upgrade your peer group, if you start coming on weekly calls with us and see CEOs, if you're hanging out with Marianne Bartels and Dr. Encore and Andrew Haynes, you're going to become a different person. Wealth is going to become something that's just like taking a shower or brushing your teeth for you. That's investing in yourself. That's putting you in the right room. And honestly, folks, that's going to get you a higher return than anything I'm going to show you. Once that's done, then I'm going to show you how to make that money. But it starts with you investing in yourself. And if you don't do that, honestly, nothing else is going to work, in my opinion. And we have experience doing this. So this is the details. If you want to book a call with Martini, there's ways to click on the website and book her. You can DM her on Facebook. You can email her. One thing I would say is that Martini is extremely, extremely busy right now. And so she's interested in talking with people that are very serious about joining the investment club now. If you do get lucky enough to get on a call with her, make sure you take the time to convince Martini why you belong in this club. And whatever you do, don't waste her time. We've all made that mistake once, only once. All right. And so seriously, you know, she's doing like God's work right now, and she's very, very busy. So only talk to her if you're really serious about joining now. And again, what is your why, folks? Quite frankly, this isn't much I wouldn't do for these two boys. I'd do pretty much anything. That's why I'm here on a late night, because I'm here to create the future where they can thrive and survive. And I would say, what is your why? Do you have a reason? Do you have people in your life? Are you looking out for a community? Are you looking out for the future? Do you want to do something? You want to be a part of something? If your why is strong enough, any how is possible. You will find a way to join this course if your why is strong enough. And if it's not strong enough, I could give it to you and you would screw it up. All right. And so channel your why. One of my mentors, Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, once said, he said, Brian, a poor person says, I can't afford it. A rich person says, how can I afford it? Right? A statement closes the mind. A question opens the mind. And so if you can see how this can lead to generational wealth, you can say, how can I do this? But if you're stuck in a poor mindset, I can't help you. So trap into your why and you'll find a way to do this. And that's it, folks. Just want to say thank you all for being here. Did you get something from that? Some type of insight or help? If you have any questions, I'm going to go check them out in the chat right now and reply to them. You know, we are lucky to have Martini here. And so I thought I'd just pull her on and she can maybe talk to you about how you can connect with her if you do want to join us. So over to you, Martini.
Awesome. Well, once again, everyone, happy Friday. And thank you to each and all of you for deciding to spend some of your valuable time here with us. And hopefully you were able to pick up quite a few gems that Brian dropped today. And what I would say is don't let that leave here, okay? Don't let that information just stay here with you, okay? So what I would definitely say is when we're talking about AI, metaverse, and all these other amazing things, that of course a lot of people say that it's the future, but the future is here and the future is now. So the thing is that we need to be prepared in the best way possible at whatever capacity that we can for what's going on now and for what's to come. So the question is, what is your plan? Like, what is it that you're doing to better prepare for the future, and who are you surrounding yourself with? And here in the investment club, we are definitely preparing during this bear market that we have right now, but we are really preparing for the greater future and for the greater of humanity. And we are only investing in projects and companies that are really going to move us forward in a major way. And part of the bonus is we get to connect and build wealth along the way. So if you guys are looking into joining us in the investment club, if you want to take a look down at the chat, I went ahead and put some notes in there or some links. The first one is going to be for you to go ahead and take a look at the investment club page. Now, I know that we are all at different levels, and the member who joined us today, Mr. Tony, who I'm really excited about, was very new. He's very new to the investment space, very new to AI, very new to everything, but he had a heart to want to invest and has a heart to want to invest in the future for his family, and he definitely wants to learn about these things. So like Brian said, it doesn't necessarily matter where you're at on your journey. We want to support you, and we will be there to support you every single step of the way. So please don't be intimidated if you're new to all of this, okay? So take a look at the investment club page, take a look at everything that we offer and how we can best support you and what you're going to be learning. And then also just be sure to jot down some notes and some questions so that when you do book a call with me, that our call can move with a lot more flow, shall I say, okay? So I would like for us to be prepared in the best way possible so that I can support you in the best way possible with answers to your questions on the call, okay? So once again, Brian said, do not book a call with me if you are not serious. Please do not waste my time. I only want to talk to people who are ready to pull the trigger or know that they want to join us, but they just have a couple of questions that they need to have answered before they join. Okay, so if you're a person who's wanting to join 6 months down the road, this option may not even be available to you. And Brian just might raise that rate to 100K. So if you're wanting to book 6 months later, I don't want to talk to you. Or if you are trying to talk yourself out of, you can't afford it or whatnot, I don't want to hear that either. I just want to reserve my time for people who are really wanting to take their financial future serious. Okay. So I know that Brian's got us spread out all throughout the world. So I know that we have different time zones. So if you do not see a time that is available in my calendar, please be sure to go ahead and send me a private message on either Facebook Messenger or email. Facebook is definitely the fastest way to get a hold of me for sure, but email is always good too. So guys, you guys are very important to us. I am up round the clock, and it's mainly just me doing my part to make sure that we support this London Real community as best as possible. And we are all about transformation, and it's not just about doing push-ups or doing videos, but it's also building a solid future and a solid foundation for us and our families. And it takes wealth, true wealth, to be able to do that. So it's my privilege to be able to support you guys on your journey. All right, so once again, happy Friday, everyone. Glad to see you here. We can't wait to see you on the next live call. And back to you, Brian.
Thanks so much. Give it up for Martini. She's a superwoman. She makes superwoman look lazy. And so thank you, Martini. We appreciate you. And Martini is a huge part of our community, building the community, and she invests alongside of everybody as well. So thank you, Martini. Really appreciate that. And yeah, she did say, like, don't feel intimidated by the names of these communities. And also, if your blockchain is a bit rusty, no problem. We've had people that have joined our investment club. We put them straight into our crypto and DeFi academy. We put them straight into our Kings of DeFi. And within 4 weeks, they're right up the curve on everything that we do. So, you know, we're here for the long run. We've got an amazing community of different people at different skill levels. Our job is to make sure that you learn how to fish. And like I said, we're here for the next 10, 20 years. So yeah, look, we just want to say we really appreciate everybody being here. Got some great comments here. Candice is just saying thank you. I appreciate that. I think it was Julio and Anna that said that they stayed in, canceled their plans just to be here tonight. I don't know what to say, Julio. I appreciate that. I canceled my plans to be with you, right? So I appreciate that. Lucas saying thanks for the inspiration. I appreciate that. A bunch of people asking hard questions and really considering some of the implications of AI. And I think that's really healthy to do. And so I would just say, you know, most of your friends and family don't realize how imminent AI is. They're still walking around kind of blind, you know, like they don't know what's going to hit them. They're looking for your leadership to get them out of this mess and for you to be aware. And I just want to say, you know, we would love to have you join us on this incredible, incredible journey. You know, the investment club is the greatest thing I've ever been able to create inside London Real. It really is. And I'm just blessed and honored to be able to serve these people and to be able to connect with these amazing CEOs. You know, one final thing I'll close on that I didn't actually talk about. Being around these CEOs and visionaries, it's so amazing because these people are infectious with energy. They want to change the world. And they're putting everything on the line to do it. Their reputations, their money, their time, their energy. And it's just really inspiring being around people like that. And we have lots of those types of people. Every single CEO and company is doing that. And they really appreciate us and everything we bring to the table as well. So it's just an amazing way to connect and empower people and, you know, really be more human as well. I really feel like a supercharged human being when I'm doing this stuff. And, you know, I've always invested in people through London Real, but when you actually give a company capital and media and attention, you really feel like you're a part of something even bigger than yourself. So it's a beautiful way to get deep meaning out of life as well. And I think we've really found it. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's here. Again, really look forward to seeing you inside. Thank you to all of our members here, like Petya and a bunch of people that came in to see us. Martin was in the house earlier and a few others. So we appreciate you. I see Walter's here as well. So great to see Walter. Thank you, Martini. We're going to keep going, folks. So keep an eye out for us. If you're not on the inside, make sure you stay out of our way, but keep watching because we're going to trailblaze all the way there. And I hope you can join us. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Bless. All right. And we'll see you hopefully on the inside on Thursday. Bye.